Welcome to another episode of Talking College Football with J.J. Kitchen. Of course, I'm your host, J.J. Kitchen. Got ourselves a good on-tap show for you here tonight. And let me tell you, if you don't have a drink around you right now, you may want to grab one because our man, the Pitt guru himself, Harry Paceris, got ourselves something special. And let's just say to all the Greeks out there, we are going to have the nectars of the gods here tonight. So it's going to be a fun one. We'll start it off right. And, of course, a tremendous gift by Harry, beyond gracious. And, of course, not surprised as myself, Eric, everybody on here tonight will certainly have a good time. Truly appreciate everyone in the comments section as well. We're going to get into it here tonight, but plenty of different topics that happened during the week. Number one, the Notre Dame ACC partnership. That was certainly brought up quite a bit this week. Was ACC in the right? We're going to talk a little bit about why, obviously, they were in the right to support their ACC membership in Miami going to, but also was Alabama maybe the target that really should have been out and Notre Dame should have been in instead of Alabama? We'll talk about that. Pitt loses special teams coordinator, tight ends coach Jacob Brownowski to Auburn. Really good football coach, up-and-coming football coach, and he goes to Auburn with a dear friend of his, Alex Golish. They coached together at Auburn. They coached together at Tennessee and UCF. He certainly reunites with them. We'll talk about that tonight, and possibly some two names that I've brought up that could be potential replacements for them. We'll talk about that tonight. We'll also go through number three. First round of the college football playoff is on tap coming up on Friday and Saturday. We'll pick our winners here in the first round as the college football playoff gets it going. Also, too, the importance of bowl games. I'm a big bowl game guy. I always love bowl games because, one, they're fun to travel to, and you get to face a different team that you don't normally get to face, and why it's important. But also the 15 practices, why it's important for these teams to use these 15 practices to find out what you have, what you don't have, but more importantly, develop the young players, the true freshmen, the redshirt freshmen, your sophomores, really be able to adapt and develop your players and find out what you have so you can go into the portal and look at those players. Last but not least, the Pitt versus Wisconsin series was canceled for 2026, but the Ireland game is still on. Ireland is going to be certainly a fun game as a contract game, so that will certainly stay on the schedule. We'll talk about that tonight and why Pitt added Bucknell onto the schedule. That was another ad. And Pitt and the ACC moved to 9 conference games. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think we'll have a little bit of different discussions here tonight on why it may be bad, because the non-con games are usually pretty fun to go face each other in different teams. But before we get into it here tonight, the show is sponsored by Colonial Beer, located at 4986 Library Road in Bethel Park, PA 15102. Of course, we'll have our Death Row here tonight, the Death Row Records, the Happy Dads, always different, a number of different selections, your seltzers, your heavier beers, your lighter lagers. Go in there. Obviously, Bill and Alan are truly the best. Anytime you help out a small business, you do so, especially when they're pit men who run a great business. Again, head over to Colonial Beer, located at 4986 Library Road in Bethel Park, PA 15102. Next up, obviously, the show is sponsored by Thompson Law Group with Brian Thompson, an attorney on your side. Call them today at 724-799-8404 or visit them at thompsonattorney.com. Again, you guys have gotten to meet Brian at the game, at the tailgates. One, beyond fun guy, but more importantly, he cares about you, the individual. It's a relationship-based business. Unlike the larger law firms, he treats you like a person, not a number. He'll guide you through the process from beginning to end to make sure that you get the results that you need. If he doesn't have an answer, he'll put you in front of somebody that knows the answer and will get you the results that you need in your case. Again, Thompson comes from a great family, has a great family, tremendous father, and does a number of great work in the volunteer work in his community. Make sure you guys go see Thompson Law Group today with Brian Thompson, an attorney on your side. Call them today at 724-799-8404 or visit them at thompsonattorney.com. So now that brings up our esteemed guest, of course, the Pitt guru himself, and of course, Eric from the Bird Cave. We got everybody in here tonight. Gentlemen, Harry, Eric, how are we doing tonight, fellas?
Nervous.
It's a great night. It's a great night to be on. I'm pleased to know that the two of you are going to be getting your first experience with Oozle, and I'm trying to bring some great culture to the podcast. I'm going to pour mine out for all the listeners here, but I'm excited to get your thoughts on there, and just a public service announcement since we're starting, if you don't mind. I don't want to hog the airtime here, but the holidays are very stressful and people get stressed this time of year. They're trying to get gifts. It's families coming in. Your answer is Ouzo. It's over 100 proof, and when you can't feel your feet or your feelings, or possibly go blind while drinking it, you're going to feel a lot better about life. So just take that suggestion from Harry. It's Ouzo. I got it for everybody. I'm excited to get the pod started with your thoughts.
We're going to do one here. And obviously, again, like to your point, chilled. We got ourselves chilled. And obviously, we'll pour one here right here. Make sure I don't spill it.
Yeah. And while he's doing that, I did not listen to Harry to pick Guru and chilled mine. So I pre-poured mine in some ice. I wanted to do just a shot here, but I'm going to get this. You know what? This
Eric,
glass
your
is
volume's
cold.
down, dude.
All right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, to the show.
Can you hear me now?
Happy holidays. Happy holidays to our viewers. We'll have something special coming up. Do you guys hear me?
Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Yep, we can hear you. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we can hear you too.
Cool. All right.
Guys, happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope you enjoy the holidays. Enjoy this shot. Hopefully you're all having a drink with us here tonight. Here we go. For Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen.
Yasas.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God, that's actually good.
It's beautiful. Oh, it's amazing.
Wow.
If you like black licorice, you'll love Ouzo.
Yeah.
So
Great moonshine.
Here's the thing, Harry. I don't like black licorice, but this is good.
Yeah, it actually is really good.
Really good.
I agree. Man, that is really good.
Hey, guys, isn't it like what? Liquor before beer, you're in the clear, right? I remember that from the college days. Because I got the beer right over here. I want to make sure I'm not getting these things backwards here. But
I know that is something. And again, Nectar of the Gods here. Very cool stuff. Thank you. That is actually really good. That is a great shot, man. I'm glad you got us that because we've heard it from a number of people in the chat, from a number of people that have asked for it. Extremely pumped up that we got to try that out. And it is like you could smell when you open it up, you actually smell like the black licorice, which it's very smooth. Like usually when you drink like a tequila or something like that, it's like you just kind of like ants up a little bit, like it's extremely strong, but man, that is actually really good.
So and there's brands like Isidoros that's $200, Metaxa more like $80. This unfortunately is the cheapest you can get, but I tell you what, it's damn good. Bang for the buck, it's great. So I'm glad everybody enjoyed it, and I'd encourage everybody out there for the holidays, go buy a bottle.
And let me tell you something. The true bird cave thing here too is if you or someone in your man caves and you want to keep variety in there, I'm telling you, man, go grab this variety. I don't rate liquor like I do beer. Man, Harry, I don't know if JJ, I don't know if Harry still can't hear me or not, but do you ever mix this with anything, or is this always straight?
Harry, I don't know if you can hear Eric. I know I can hear Eric.
Dude, it's funny. I can't hear him. I don't know why.
He's asking, do you usually mix it with anybody? Like, do you mix it with anything, or?
Oh my God, no! It's sacrilege. No. Okay, that's a great question. No. This is if you're celebrating anything. No, you're drinking it straight up. I mean, there may be some odd Greeks that do that, but no, this is standalone shots, and you want to drink it cold. The colder, the better.
Okay, well, that's good then. I mean, yeah, I gotta agree. At least the one had it in the freezer the entire day, so it was really good. But talking about freezing cold takes, Notre Dame, number one, the topic of to start off the night that happened a lot over really during the week and certainly got a lot of discussion. People were asking, obviously, in the chat and DM me. Obviously, we're not going to talk about the Michigan stuff and Coach Moore. Really hope nothing but the best for that whole situation. That's extremely, extremely scary. It's really good no one got hurt in that situation. Wish nothing but the best for Moore and his family, but, just hope nothing but the best for everybody involved. But for tonight, the number one thing here, if I can pull up the banner here. Here we go. Notre Dame ACC partnership is ACC right. And we saw so much stuff this week that the ACC was, very rightly so, promoting its own football member, which is actually common sense, you would think, to promote your own team in Miami, promoting them. And, we had a bunch of discussions over a number of different topics where, did the college football playoff get it right by putting Miami in over Notre Dame? We talked about it last week, yes. But the conversation can really be turned on, should Alabama be involved? Because BYU got booted for losing in their conference game. But then you look at overall, you look at the display by Alabama. Now Ty Simpson's possibly out. There are conversations there. Number one, Harry, I'll go to you first. Harry, do you think that, one, the ACC did the right thing by promoting its football member, not Notre Dame? And do you think there could have been a discussion, though, that Notre Dame possibly should have been in over Alabama rather than, let's just say Notre Dame?
So first, let me say this. I have a lot of respect for the Notre Dame program. I think Marcus Freeman is a class act. I think Jeremiah Love is the best running back in the nation. Should they be in? Yes, but let me preface this. As everyone knows, you have 5 automatic bids, and those go to conference champions. After that, it's an at-large bid. So if you're not a conference champion, you have no say in terms of what's going on. And there's a lot of politics involved and everything else. So JJ, to your point, they are not a member institution in the ACC. This comes down to the financials as well. Who the hell do you think they're going to promote? They're definitely going to promote I would promote Miami over Notre Dame. So because they're not affiliated with a conference, you leave yourself in that at-large bid scenario. You need to know, despite your lofty reputation, it may not work out. Now, to your point, do I think they should have been in over Alabama? Yeah. If you're asking me, in my opinion, I think they should be. But the point being, you are at risk when you're an at-large bid, and they need to understand that. It's almost like, I hate to say arrogance, because they're melting down over it, but you leave yourself open to being cut out. So the solution, obviously, is to join a conference. ACC asked, they declined. They have their. In fact, let's be honest. They would have won the ACC. You would be in right now. It wouldn't be an issue. But they don't want to do it. And I know they're bitching and moaning about going to another, potentially elsewhere. You still have to join a conference. I don't care if you go to the SEC and try to get in. So. Yes, you're asking me my opinion over. They should be in. Yeah, I think over Alabama, absolutely. I think clearly they have a better team than James Madison or Tulane, in my opinion. I think you should get the best teams into play, but they're not affiliated with a conference. This could happen, and you can't gripe if it doesn't work out for you. So this meltdown is absurd to me. Now, if a Notre Dame fan is listening, I have full respect for their program. They thumped Pitt, and I do believe they should have been in. But it didn't work out for the above reasons I just mentioned.
I agree. And Eric, just to get your thoughts, one, did the ACC do the right thing? And I agree with Harry completely that, hey, at the end of the day, you're supporting a football member. The Notre Dame is a part of the ACC, which we can have a debate upon, is the ACC helping Notre Dame by helping them, by allowing their sports to be in here? Because we saw a bunch of discussion here this week that now schools are going now, the ACC, and we'll talk more about it on the show, but ACC is going to 9 conference games. Big Ten is now in 9 conference games. The same thing with the SEC moving forward. The same thing with the Big 12. You're kind of losing opportunities to figure out who you can play, and now they're starting to have a discussion to potentially just not schedule Notre Dame. If you're not in a conference, that could be a problem. So, number one, did the ACC do the right thing in promoting Miami over Notre Dame? And really never disparaging Notre Dame. They promoted their football team on a head-to-head basis. But then that question, that caveat off of that, should they be allowed to, one, have an opportunity to debate? Should Notre Dame should they have been in over Alabama? That's the question too.
Yes. The point I made when we spoke about this before, there was a reason why Alabama was in. It was to protect conference championship games, in my opinion, from losing conference championship games, and because Alabama got snubbed last year. So Alabama got in, and I think the committee got it right by getting it in from a holistic, like a holistic college football playoff thing, right? And again, why Miami had to go in over Notre Dame, because you have to protect the head-to-head and you have to protect the non-conference. Notre Dame is, and I have a lot of respect for Notre Dame. I always have and always will. But they're displaying some entitlement behavior right now. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't want to be an independent, schedule what you want, how you want, which I respect that. But then get mad at the ACC because they didn't go to bat for you, and they went to bat for one of their own in the Miami Hurricanes, as they should. I don't care what statistic you put up, what Power 5 wins you have, Power 4 wins, top 25 wins, things like that. When you have the same record and you have a clear head-to-head, the team that won gets in. The head-to-head should be times 10 over any other metric that you measure college football playoff teams by. Could you imagine, JJ and Harry, I don't know if you can hear me. Hey, you know what? Let's say Alabama. We'll say Alabama plays Notre Dame in the championship game, and Notre Dame wins 27-24, but Alabama has a better resume, so we're going to give the national championship to Alabama. I mean, that's what we're talking about right here, right? It's stupid. So I like that James Phillips, so he has a lot of warts with the commissioner in the ACC, but I think he 100% did the right thing. He didn't bash Notre Dame. He just chose to back Miami, in my opinion, for all the right reasons.
I agree. And again, they did the right thing. They did the right thing by promoting their football member. And I think that you can honestly have a conversation because, now Alabama has people hurt. Now that debate comes up because then we saw that with Florida State how many years ago where Florida State was held out because, they had their quarterback hurt, Jordan Travis, who was probably on the rise to where, Heisman Trophy. I mean, the guy was playing at such a high level, and Florida State's team was actually really good that year. I know they've certainly just recently, have been just much more down in the dumps, to say the least. But you have to look at it from a perspective of, okay, we did the right thing by promoting our brand. And I think that partnership, while Notre Dame says that it's certainly stressed, I don't think that the Notre Dame will drop out of the ACC because, one, you look at other conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC, they're not going to allow them to move their sports over, just their non-revenue sports over to their conferences. They're going to say, hey, our leverage is very simple. You join our conference as a full-time member or you're not getting in. So it's kind of a crazy line that you want to say where you have a lot more debate on what does this potentially look like. So it's going to be fun to watch, and we'll see what that looks like. But I agree with you, gentlemen. They did the right thing. They did the right thing by promoting the ACC. And again, I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, at the end of the day, you're non-revenue sports in the ACC. You're a football true member, and along with all other non-revenue sports that belong in the ACC is Miami. They did the right thing. And of course, Eric, to your point, head-to-head will always matter. I mean, I hate to say it, but the committee is almost becoming where it's fluctuating because then they watch TV, they watch people, pretty much just trash them the entire time, and then they switch back and forth. Where going into the week, Notre Dame was in front of Miami, then all of a sudden they jump, and neither one of the teams played. So it's a crazy debate. Yeah. So it's crazy when you watch that, and you kind of have to justify it. But something like that has to change, and I think eventually the playoffs going to expand from 12 teams to 16 teams. Which then creates even more crazier words where you're your 17th team, your 18th team, you're kind of looking at other teams that want to join. But personally, I think 12 is really the way to go, in my opinion. That goes over to our next topic. And it's a one we talked about a little bit earlier. Pitt loses its tight end and special teams coordinator, Jacob Brownowski, to Auburn. In my opinion, I thought Jacob Brownowski is a tremendous football coach. You look at the way that the special teams, I think that the Caleb Junko stuff can be certainly debated in terms of, the punting situation, the kickoffs that went out of bounds. That can have a certain level of discussion. But when you look at Jacob Brownowski, I don't think it's going to hurt us in the bowl game. But I love the way that he coached these tight ends. I thought the tight ends were certainly getting better over the years. Malachi Thomas continually got better as the years went on. Holmes certainly got really a lot better as the year went on. Jacob Brownowski certainly helped develop that Texas pipeline. We looked at a 4-star, we landed 4-star offensive tackle, Nicholas Howard, who I think is going to be a tremendous football player at Pitt. Corey Daly, 4-star quarterback, comes from Texas, now up to Pitt. Those two guys sign on board. And then, of course, Wyatt Villarreal, 6'5" tight end. I mean, we had been missing really that explosive tight end in the passing game, where you saw a guy where Harry talked about it, where you had that Scott Orndorff back in the day, that J.P. Holtz, a guy that could really create mismatches over the middle of the field. We've kind of been missing that this past couple, really, I'd say this past year, where we really had Gavin Bartholomew, who was a tremendous tight end. We're really missing that. But Wyatt Villarreal certainly could be one of those guys. When you look at this loss, fellas, I mentioned online and on X the other day, I think when you look at the Pitt tight end position, it's a very attractable position. Tight end, special teams coordinator. I brought up, I think the most obvious hire would be Nate Bynum, the former Pitt tight end. He's the tight ends coach and offensive coordinator at Stanford. I don't know if he'll be retained by the new head football coach at Stanford, Coach Pritchard, who is a tremendous football coach, played with Andrew Luck in his time at Stanford. We'll see what that looks like. Justin Lustig, not sure he's going to be retained by the Penn State staff and Matt Campbell up there. Fellas, number one, Harry, in your opinion, when you look at this tight end, this tight end position, is this a major loss for Pitt in terms of losing a guy like Jacob Brownowski and the development of that tight end room, but also, too, the recruiting wise? I mean, is it that big of a loss, or can Pitt really navigate this and hire the right guy to come in here and make the room right?
Well, you could tell right off the bat that Coach Brownowski had an it factor. He commanded a room when he spoke. He was exceptionally talented. I didn't know how long we would be able to hold on to him. Obviously, there's a relationship there, at Auburn with his name's escaping me. New head coach
Alex Golesh.
Yeah. Thank you. I had someone message me and go, look, these guys were friends way back. They're very tight. Plus, obviously, got a bump in pay. The only bothersome thing is I was exceedingly happy to have the recruits coming from Texas, starting that pipeline up. And I did a lot more film study on Wyatt Villarreal, and I was so impressed. Years and years ago, Gabe Hoy, I interviewed his coach, and he said to me, Gabe's going to be a big-time player for Pitt once he gets an ass. And in coaching terms, what he was basically saying is you just got to put some muscle on him. Yep. Wyatt's the same way. I think at 20 pounds later, this kid's going to be an animal. And I think he's very comparable to Scott Orndorff if you watch him play. Yeah. So it's kudos to Coach Narduzzi for selecting Brownowski, major up-and-comer. I have no doubt at some point he's going to be a coordinator than a head coach. So the point being is, if you landed a very talented assistant now, you simply have to do the same thing. Byam, I think would be an ideal fit. I'm probably revealing my age, but I remember when I interviewed him back in the day, he was the #1 tight end recruit in the nation. When we landed him, it was a very big deal, and he was incredibly talented. I'm assuming the hire is going to happen after the bowl game, so we'll see how that transpires. But this is part of coaching reality, is that if you hire a talented coach, there's a chance they're going to go elsewhere, because if they're that talented, they want to move up the chain. So when you get to the SEC, let's be honest, if he does a great job, there's a good chance at a D2 or D1 level he'll end up a coordinator at some point. So probably the only bothersome thing for me would be, I hope on some level we can continue the Texas pipeline. We're already tapping into Georgia. Yeah. We're already tapping into Florida. Texas, I don't think I need to say, is extraordinarily talented when it comes to the depth of talent there. So it's going to be an interesting hire. I'm assuming, again, like I said, this won't happen until after the 27th this month. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But, I do think it's still an attractive position. And, I'm hoping dues, if not sooner rather than later, can lock up, especially with all of the openings that are out there in the nation. You're going to have a lot of money getting thrown around to different coaches. So the sooner we can wrap up a young, talented coach again, the better.
Eric, when you look at this position, I think it's going to be, again, to Harry's point, we're not going to get any of this stuff filled till after the bowl game, which makes sense. And it kind of puts us on watch a little bit when you look at this game, because I think, we're around this time of year, probably after January 1st, will we see an opportunity, where you look at this game and you say, hey, after the game, does Randy Bates retire? That's going to be a conversation that comes up. And does Corey Sanders, the safeties coach, or does Ryan Manilak get that DC position? Or does Narduzzi go out and hire from outside, which we have seen numerous times? That kind of conversation has happened on a number of different levels. And you kind of have to see what it looks like on the basis of, okay, do they make that hire late into January after the games, middle of January, which we've seen Narduzzi do, or is it going to be after the second signing day period, which I kind of hope it's not. I mean, hopefully he gets this stuff filled. But in your opinion, it could be, losing Jacob Brownowski could be a big thing. I don't think, obviously, it's not going to hurt us during the bowl game with him being a special teams coordinator and a tight end coach. I'd be more concerned if we didn't have, Cade Bell or Randy Bates for, the bowl game, obviously OC and DC. But one, do you think that, this thing gets filled probably after the bowl game? And do you think this affects a little bit of recruiting or no?
I do think it'll be after the bowl game because it's going to be. Now, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, and I know you can't. If you could repeat the question, maybe Harry can do as well. But he was here obviously before Bell, right? I mean, Cade Bell came in, and Brownowski was already here as a coach, correct?
Well, he actually hired him. Pretty much. Cade Bell hired the entire offensive staff when he got in 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't really familiar with that, so thank you. So what I'm getting at is I do think it'd be more after the bowl game because right now bringing a new coach in is not going to do much. But does Cade Bell, now that that appears he's going to stay, does he want to do something different with the tight end group? Does he go out and he should have a big influence in who he hires as a tight end coach? And obviously Narduzzi and others will have a say-so with the special teams. But does the special teams coordinator get stripped and now becomes two guys, or does that go to another guy? But sticking to the tight end, because you got the Y coming in from Texas and you got the other guys in the room, they love to utilize the tight end in multiple sets with that 11 personnel. They're always offset from the tackle. They split them out wide to do things, so they're attracting a certain type of tight end. Hopefully, Cade Bell should be the major voice in the room for recruiting, and then he'll say, "Hey, we're bringing a coach in that believes in the same philosophies that I'm running my offense with." So for that, I don't think it's going to hurt recruiting, and I'm sure he probably could share a short list of names who will be coming in as possible candidates for it. So after the bowl game, definitely soon after the bowl game, maybe even after the holidays, because you want to get him in there in enough time for spring practice. But I don't think it's going to hurt recruiting much at all.
I agree. And kind of leads me to that next conversation about bowl games. Halfway through the show here, are bowl games important? Should they be played at the end of the season, the beginning of the season? And you look at bowl games right now. I love bowl games because you get those 15 practices to coach your young guys. Your true freshmen who haven't gotten a lot of reps during the season. Your redshirt freshmen, your true sophomores, your redshirt sophomores, and you allow yourself to rest a lot of the older guys who will play in the bowl game, but also to figure out, okay, is there going to be guys that opt out for the bowl game? Are there going to be guys that don't make it to the bowl game? Who's going to play? Who's not going to play? Or coaches going and leaving, which we've seen from both, from a number of different teams, especially in this coming matchup here in a couple of weeks with Pitt and East Carolina. You look at the bowl games. I love the bowl games. The question I do have is because the relevance of them is becoming less and less. And I think there could be certainly a big conversation on should they be at the beginning, at the end of the season like they are right now, or wait till the end of the year, or wait till the beginning of next year and play them right in the beginning of the year. There could be a debate on that. But I think when you look at this game, I love bowl games. Harry, when you think about the bowl games and the travels, the traveling to a lot of these games. I mean, how many games have we gone to in bowl games where, one, they're just so much fun. You get to see many different cities. You get to see many different teams you get to face someone out of conference, which is always great because you get to face another team. Harry, do you like the bowl games? And then number two, should they be played at the end of the season like right now? Or should we make a system where bowl games are played in the beginning of the next season as an exhibition game to prepare that next team going into the season?
So first, I know I like the bowl games the way they are right now. I would prefer I see it as a reward to a team that has performed well That's just my humble opinion. Second of all, JJ, I'm with you 100%. First of all, the reason I love the bowl games, I love seeing teams that never play each other get on the field and hash it out. And I'll watch. I'm often confused when I see people denigrate even the smallest bowls. To me, football's football, and I love watching teams that never play each other go at it. But to your point, it's about continuity as well. Right now, Pitt's practicing. They're able to get the younger players on the field. They're getting extra reps. You're being able to eyeball your future in a sense too, because let's face it, there's going to be seniors graduating, so you can see what you have for the following year. The teams that are opting out of bowls, either out of anger, spite, or whatever reason, I think you're doing a disservice to the team and the coaches. Maybe in Notre Dame's scenario, I kind of get it, but even then I don't, because it's a gift to a winning team because you continue practices, things like that. In terms of the fan experience, I love going to bowls. You're interacting with I consider Pitt fans family. You're able to go interact with family, get to meet people. I mentioned a couple of bowl games that I went to. I'm always thrilled people stop me going back on, hey, I was with you from day one when you had the Pitt Gurus Panther page. That's meaningful to me. And, I always tell those people, I'm on social media, connect with me. I'm like an amoeba. I like absorbing people, getting to know people. So I am pro bowl games, and I would like to keep it as is. I can't fathom, like I said, I'm actually excited to play East Carolina. I think it's another team we normally never play, but I wouldn't want to do it in August. I want to play them on the 27th like we are now. So it's an asset to the team because of the continuity, the practices. It's an asset to the fan to go and have a great experience. And I have never understood people that denigrate bowls and don't like them. I enjoy the entire bowl season. I watch as many as I can, and that's my humble opinion on it.
I agree. And pulling up some of the comments here, guys, I have to handle this right now. I just pulled up the comment section. Yeah. Obviously, I apologize to all the Pitt fans being attacked in the comment section. I apologize. I'm sorry too. I accidentally stopped comments from Fishy, who is a Pitt fan. I apologize just because it was just coming in so fast. I apologize, guys. I just literally pulled up the comment section and just saw all the threats. Yeah, I mean, I apologize to everybody. Really apologize for that. Obviously, we don't ever tolerate that. YouTube. I just got a flash from YouTube here that said the stream could be stopped because of comments from some ECU fans. Again, guys, I apologize. I did not see that. If you guys could reach out to, I think it's here, Fishy. I apologize for deleting his comment here. Again, guys, I apologize about that. Let him know I did not mean to do that. But yeah, man, I apologize for all the stuff being said in there, man. I just read it right now. And then obviously when the live stream is monitored by YouTube, I apologize, guys, for the comments through there, man. I did not see how that stuff was being said in there. I apologize for that, guys. Again, that stuff is never said in the comment section. So very sorry about that, guys. We'll clear that up. And again, I've got thank you, JJ. Get rid of the. It is what it is, guys. Again, I apologize for not seeing that earlier. Just the conversation goes on here. I'm just cleaning it up right now, and I just got an email from YouTube as well. So I again apologize to everybody involved here. We're cleaning that stuff up right now. Certainly don't want nothing to get taken off here. So truly apologize about that. And to Fishy, I apologize. Did not mean to put you out of the chat or nothing like that. Again, my apologies there. Please let him know. I'll be able to on the next stream put him back in. So I apologize about that.
Good.
Yeah, again, guys. Wow. Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, guys, I did not see that they were saying this. Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, guys, I did not Did not see that. I apologize. That's not our live stream and what's being said. Again, I apologize. Did not see the threats early on. I've taken them out of the chat. Again, I apologize again, guys. Sorry about that. Back to the conversation, though. No apology needed, brother. Again, I apologize, guys.
Yep.
I think I can. That Harris is here. I can do that. I will get that done. I apologize. We'll make sure we get that done. Back to the comments, though. I'm sorry, Harry and Eric. I apologize. I literally just got an email from YouTube, and they're just like they're flagging like everything. So I apologize about that.
East Carolina fans, we're happy to be playing you guys. Relax. You got 20 plus seniors, 8-4 team. Relax. We're happy to be playing you. Peace and love. Chill.
Yeah, and
it's football. Relax.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, JJ, as well, because they, some of them hopped on the Bird Cave pod as well, looking for JJ as well too, which just shows a level of maturity that's stupid. Where they're talking Steelers and they're coming in, they're talking all this garbage, and then GB and I were start talking about the college football playoffs, and they start, guys. You started the banter about the stadiums. JJ made a comment about your stadium, and you guys are going nuclear on it. Listen, and you're on here. If it's banter, it's fine. Stop taking it to this level, because nobody here hates ECU at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody does. And I'm not saying this to be like I'm up here, but I just don't care about ECU. So just stop it.
Yeah.
We're going to play ECU on the 27th. Whoever wins, wins. It is what it is. So, yeah, my goodness. Anyway, go ahead, JJ. I mean, you don't have to apologize. I mean, this is your show. You know what I mean? We don't need people like that in here wrecking it and wrecking it for the people in the Pitt family as well. They're here to enjoy a good conversation.
Yeah, and again, to Fishy, make sure you follow me on X, and I'll make sure I get it done and get you unblocked again. I apologize again, but yeah. Again, I literally just when YouTube, when you're live, YouTube actually sends you something that says, "Hey, you've been warned," and then all the comments start popping up. So I apologize, but we're back into the show here. Let's see here.
Harry's talking about the bowl games. He likes them.
Yeah, so why the bowl games are really, really good. This bowl game coming up, obviously, is going to be an interesting one for Pitt. We've had great opponents before. Obviously, I'm still watching tape right now, but to give the Pitt fans some comments in here, just an idea to give you an update. What I've watched it out of their schedule so far. I've watched roughly about 4 or 5 games so far on tape. Head coach Blake Harrell, been a tremendous football coach there probably this year. I mean, they were on track to do a lot of great things in terms of with their offense, especially with their defense. And Josh Aldridge, who's their defensive coordinator. John David Baker is their OC. Their OC and their DC have actually left the school. John David Baker's headed to Ole Miss. And then Josh Aldridge is headed to USF with Brian Hartline. So I'm going to watch more tape, but I think we're probably going to do an actual breakdown of the actual game next Sunday, giving Harry time to review the review tape, giving myself more time to see who's playing, who's not playing. You look at that offense overall, their quarterback, their quarterback's pretty damn good. From my notes here, let's see here. Yeah, he was a Michigan State transfer, went to East Carolina, 3,300 yards this year. I mean, it was pretty damn good overall. Really good quarterback there, Caden Hauser. So we'll watch more tape on that. We'll do a more live one next week, and we'll get you guys more information updated then. But back to your point, Eric, yeah, I love the bowl games because, one, they're so much fun in terms of traveling. A lot of good history from, how Pitt fans certainly show up, and they've done a great job. Even when they had to go out to Detroit, done a great job of traveling all the way out there, which has always been a really good thing as well. Leads me into my next discussion. We look at the Pitt schedule. Pitt had Wisconsin on the schedule. We were updated from I think it was Football Scoop who talked about Pitt potentially having Ole Miss. We kind of had that on the docket as well. I think when you look at this game overall, I'd have loved to see Pitt play Wisconsin. I would have certainly loved to travel to that game. It would have certainly been a lot of fun. We mutually agreed to take that off because Pitt and the ACC are moving to 9 conference games, which is a debate on if that's good or bad. You can have certainly a good debate on that. I think that when you look at the schedule between taking Wisconsin off, one, it's a shame, but then two, you add Bucknell. I understand why they're doing it. So the non-con schedule for Pitt next year is 9 conference games, and then your 3 non-con games are UCF, Miami, and Bucknell. Harry, when you look at the non-conference schedule, Pitt's really taking the same route as what you see, the same route as a Penn State or a Michigan State or a Michigan, where they're putting certain teams on there, even the SEC, where they have an FCS opponent really later on in the season. Do you agree with Pitt's scheduling here to match up with a lot of other schools around the country? Or would you like, hey, you know what? Let's put 2 Power 4 games on there, and we'll have 11 Power 4 games, and just heck with everybody else in college football. Let's make our own route. Do you love the 9-game schedule? And, really one P4 opponent, or should they add more P4 opponents to make the schedule more tractable, in your opinion?
So first, let me say, in terms of the 9 conference games, I prefer a little variety. So I'm not as enthusiastic about playing 9 ACC teams, if you're asking me my opinion. And then second of all, I have no qualms, though, with Pitt replicating what you see in the Big Ten, the SEC. Let's face it, they all do it. In some ways, it seems heroic to play a tougher, Power 5 school, 1 or 2. But on the flip side, you're sometimes doing a disservice to your program, because the people that are taking the easier route, and you mentioned several schools that do that, are benefiting from it. So
yeah,
I understand both, but if I'm weighing the two, I'd rather replicate what they're doing in the SEC, Big Ten, playing someone like a Bucknell, and I have no qualms with that. I am disappointed that we won't be going to Ireland. My wife just mentioned to me, within probably last hour, it's a direct flight to Dublin. It would have been fun to have experienced that game, but I understand why the change was made, and I have no qualms with them adding Bucknell with the 9 conference schedule. But like I said, I prefer variety. I kind of wish they shied away from that, but it is what it is, and I have no qualm with what they did.
I agree, and I really do like their scheduling, because it does match up with a lot of other college football teams. Because we have had that conversation on here where Pitt is facing almost like every year where they're having 11 Power 4 teams, but it's like, if everybody else is not facing 11 Power 4 teams, why would we want to face that? That's kind of
Right.
like the debacle there.
Exactly.
Eric, when you look at this schedule, one, I think I'll get to the probably the third question. This one, do you like the way Pitt's scheduled, or do you not like the way Pitt's scheduled? And do you think it's actually good that they're going the route of everybody else in college football?
I don't like the scheduling, but like what Harry was saying, I understand why they're doing it. You might as well do it, because you're going to get flack from other schools. What it's shaping up to be is a very, very boring first 3 to 4 weeks of college football.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I don't like 9 conference games either. If you guys allow me, I have a format I want to share with everybody here. And this could probably, and honestly, JJ, this could spawn a different conversation well off into the off season as well, right?
Yeah.
I would go 12. Obviously, we have 12 games. I would say 8 conference games across the board. 3 of them I wanted to be Power 4 games opponents, and one G5 opponent, or whatever they're called, right? The Power 4 conferences, if you want to slot them, the 5th place plays the 5th place in other conferences, like the NFL does, and they rotate them. I think that would be the best scenario. So this is about 30-second scenario. So let's say 2026. Pitt plays 8 conference games. 3 of them are common every year, which I think they were doing, right? They try to do like regional rivalries and things like that. But first off, the ACC needs to go back to the 2 divisions. 3 Power 4 schools, one of those to be open to schedule whoever you want. and the other 2 would be that rotational.
Yeah, that's good.
And then one of those would be in a one like G5, like so you could talk about a Bucknell, a Miami of Ohio, whoever that might be. But then all the conference championship game tiebreakers are the same across all conferences. Put everybody on an even playing field. You get differences because it's slotted on where you finish in the other Power 4 conferences, so you'll get that variety that Harry was talking about. It keeps it interesting. And you know what? Yeah, you may have multiple. A number 1 seed could be 10-2 because of the attrition of that. But you start to get to play other teams. You know what? Pitt gets to go to making things up. Pitt gets to go to Purdue. Pitt gets to go to Utah. So you get to see all these different schools, and it's better for college football. I don't like the first 3 weeks of college football being absolutely boring with 72-7 games, and then having the same conference games for the most part every year.
Yeah. And I agree with that because I always like the non-con games, especially to your point. I don't like the scheduling, but I get why they're doing it. And again, guys, down below, the super chat button is down below. Make a small donation to the pod to get your question up here if I don't see it. I think Adam had a really good point here. Just go back to divisions. And
yep.
I think that's a positive point because the conferences are so big. And I thought I saw a comment in here about the tiebreaker system. That 100% needs to be adjusted. It 100% needs to be changed. Miami should have been in the conference title game against Virginia. 2 teams that are 10-2, getting ready to go to a college football playoff. It really takes out a lot of the problems. Now, the problem, we saw this year is it came down to percentages. And I think that Duke at 7-5 should not have been in a conference title. That was a little, skeptical across the board. And you have to say to yourself, hey, what the heck are we doing? Let me see here. This is a pretty funny. What is Epic Guru? What type of printer is that? Me and my partner are looking for one for their work home office. That is hilarious. That is some well-known looking into someone's screen. That is wild. I would have never seen that.
Bob Carrington News, I'm really impressed. So
yeah, that was good.
This is an HP Smart Tank Plus 651. It's brand new from Best Buy, as is my computer in the background. As you guys know, I'm an author as well, so I do a lot of typing. It's a really good printer when it works. I have to have the Geek Squad back. I've had some issues with connectivity, but again, it's an HP Smart Tank Plus 651, and when it works, it's awesome. So again, I'm a writer. I do a lot of printing script, and I'll review things and look. And so, Bub, I'd recommend it if you go to Best Buy. And tell him the Guru sent you. Maybe I'll get some commission.
Dude, that is hilarious. That was an incredible look. That is a great comment.
It really is.
God, that was good. We got a super chat here. John Waffle, unpopular opinion, but I think Pitt shouldn't play WVU anymore. It's too risky. I completely disagree. I think the rivalry game's good. I would obviously you want to see West Virginia get back to what they were, 20 years ago, where they're competing for a national title or something like that. Obviously, they've had 5 losing seasons in the last 7 years. We'll see what Rich Rod has up his sleeve in terms of what his debate is and what his strategy is to face other teams in the Big 12. How their roster construction comes down to, that's another thing. But no, I think we ought to face WVU. I mean, at the end of the day, rivalry games are good. I mean, I would honestly, if someone said to me, hey, you got to put WVU and Penn State on your schedule every year, I think that'd be fun. I think that you gentlemen would probably agree with me.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it. I mean, West Virginia or Bucknell, nothing against Bucknell at all. Right. And I don't want to see these teams getting to play like, my alma mater, Robert Morris and Duquesne. They got no business playing these schools. I'd rather have those, you get one game because college, you get one of the lower tier schools because college does not have any preseason, right? So you're allowed one of those is like you get one of those is kind of like a tune-up game, and whether that's always week 1 and I think also too those G5 schools or group of 5 schools I think should be scheduled before any conference games are played, because you get like Alabama and Auburn play them right before each other. You know what I mean? It's like a tune-up, like next to last game of the year. So it's all for the better collective. And Pitt playing West Virginia, whether it's every year or every other year, it needs to happen because that's a rivalry game. It just needs to happen. But I understand what you're saying, man. But it needs to happen.
And obviously, too, I'm going through it. Thank you, John, for the super chat. It pops up. That's why I saw it. I'm going through some of this now. I'm trying to see everyone's comments. That one was there. This is a great comment here by Will. I'd rather play WVU later in the season. Would be a great rivalry week game. Yep. I couldn't agree more. And I think that, one, with us not being the same conference, it really messes things up. I would love it later in the season, too. I mean, at the end of the day, it's how it was always played. We always played West Virginia in November. I mean, that's when you saw the 13-9 game. You saw the next year when WVU upset us. I mean, that's what it should be. It shouldn't be week 1 or week 3 or week 2. It should be in November. That's when it should be.
I agree with Will. Will, brilliant comment. I always thought of that rivalry game as a Thanksgiving game. It was always around that time frame. To me, it was perfect timing, and you get some inclement weather thrown in, things like that. So I agree with him 100%.
Yeah, I think it was Florida State plays at the last game of the year, every year, or next to last game with Florida State. So, yeah, I mean, it's a way to close it out. I think basketball does that same thing where they have multiple rivalry weeks. Jeez, oh man. So I do like it because it's better for the game. It's better for the fans. And if you can't beat West Virginia, you shouldn't be in the playoffs. And same thing, if West Virginia can't beat Pitt, they shouldn't be in the playoffs. I mean, it goes hand in hand.
And again, we're about 52 minutes into this now, obviously going through a number of comments here. Speedy Tortoise, always great with comments. Rivalry games should always be played. The most entertaining games, anything can happen. I could not agree more. That's college football, man. That's the lifeblood of college football.
100%.
Again, to I know Pitt fans looking now, next Sunday we'll really preview the bowl game because I think we should have a better picture on what's really going to happen between the two teams. I think when you look at both of these teams, there's a lot of question marks for both right now. What players will be going, what players will be playing, what players won't be playing, what coaches will be there. I think a week out we'll have more information. Again, John David Baker, who had himself a hell of a 2-year run at East Carolina, is on his way back to Ole Miss. Was a really good guy in terms of being able to have an explosive offense. And again, I've looked up just from the tape, just taking notes. Again, Caden Hauser, the offense runs through him. The guy that's up tempo reminds me a lot about Cade Bell. Just really, I mean, you want to motor and get really right through it and get back up to the line of scrimmage. They average roughly between 450 yards a game to 500 yards a game of total offense. That's really impressive in itself. Caden Hauser came over from Michigan State. He's got 3,300 yards passing, 19 tutties, 6 interceptions. Also 3 players to look out for that I have on my tape that I've watched on offense. Running back London Montgomery, the running back, he's been a pretty damn good running back for them. The running attack has not been consistent throughout the year. Their passing attack has. That's something to watch. But also, too, their wide receivers, Anthony Smith and Yannick Smith, 2 guys to really watch out for. And then watching more of their stuff on defense as we go through the week. Looking at a bunch of stuff. They really run a 4-2-5. Defense, really all about being aggressive, going and creating pressure, zone pressure. It's been fun watching them. Watch a number of games they've won, watch a number of games they've lost. What's really been the battle between all of them. They lost to NC State, they lost to BYU, the 2 Power 4 teams they faced, but they've won a number of damn good games throughout the year. That's for certain. Dwight Lindsay here, of course. Cam Lindsay's dad here. If you haven't done so, the guy's a good man. I'm beyond pumped to have him back here. Dwight Lindsay, WVU first pitch should always be on Turkey Day or that weekend. Dwight, couldn't agree more with you, brother.
Agreed.
Pumped up to see our boy, our Aliquippa hometown hero out of the Whippeal, Cam Lindsay, get after it here in a couple weeks in the bowl game, man. Excited for him. Damn good leader. Players love him. Just a really good kid and really good family overall. Dwight, appreciate you being here, brother. We certainly love you. John Waffle here with the super chat. Thank you for the 1999 super chat here. Scenario, we beat a top 5. Oh, this is going to be fun. Scenario, we beat a top 5 WVU team but lose to Duke at the end of the season and miss the AC title game playoff. At the end of the day, there isn't It doesn't matter to us. It only hurts if we lose and doesn't mean anything if we win. I guess, at the end of the day, if you lose to Duke, the season's bad anyways. Who cares if you beat? It's cool you beat a rival, but if you don't have a successful season, what does it matter? Our job, I said this before to a number of different teams, Pitt's job is to have a great season. That's how I look at it. One, beyond Pitt, hey, we lost to our rival during this year. It's a prime example. But number two, as Eric brought up numerous times so far, and Eric, again, I talked about this on a couple pods where you really had a solid point. We were able to discover Mason Heinchel because of that loss and because of the Louisville loss. And gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think, and I'll go really to Harry on this one first, because I know Eric has talked about this and brought up a tremendous point. If, Harry, if we win that West Virginia game and maybe even lose, let's say we lose the Louisville game, I don't think we bench Eli Holstein, and we don't know what we have in Eli, and we don't know what we have in Mason Heinchel. Do you agree with that, or do you think that they would have benched Eli after the Louisville game anyways? Or hey, did we find a diamond in the rough with Mason because of those two losses?
Look, we're in the age of NIL. Eli was getting paid handsomely, to quarterback at Pitt. If we beat WVU and potentially Louisville or keep it close, he's still our quarterback. So my son, who's a football player, Max, has reminded me 20 times, because I'm from the state of West Virginia, Weirton, which is only 30 miles from the airport here in Pittsburgh, but I'm surrounded by WVU fans. So I have been reminded repeatedly about that loss. And I'm always griping and bitching and moaning that Mason wasn't starting. And then he'll always lead me back to that point, which is the valid point. Eric is 100% correct as well. If you didn't drop those two games, you don't find your future franchise quarterback. So I get that. In fact, Mr. Lindsay was just on. Think about Cam this year. We had injuries go down. People are biting their nails. And what happens? Cam steps up and kicks ass on the field. And you have this incredible young backup that's going to be a B starter one day. So things happen for a reason. I've only griped about the Eli debacle because, again, I'm confronted by a lot of WVU fans. But no, I think things happen the way they go, and we found our franchise, and I'm sure we're going to be transferring that NIL money to him and locking him hopefully for a long-term deal here, and hopefully goes up and plays in the pros one day.
Couldn't agree more. Go ahead, Eric.
If I don't mind, before you go on maybe to something else, I have a question. I want to pose it to everybody. And John Waffle, that's a good point, and it's a good question you brought up. But my question, everybody, is what is a successful season?
Great
are we
question.
To the point? Yes. Are we to the point where, like, if Pitt doesn't make, or any school, they don't make the playoffs, the season's trash? What is it? So if Pitt were to say 9-3 and they lose the West Virginia, or to John Waffle's point, or they lose like what he was talking about, they're 9-3 and they win, they go to a bowl game and they play. Is that successful, or are we disappointed in that? Knowing you're not going to make the playoff every year, maybe outside of like Ohio State or something like that, right? What is a successful year? Because if you're looking at it individually year by year, you can have those said scenarios where you have a shortcoming in one game, but it bred something else that can go on for another year or two, or set yourself up for future success, whether it's with a player, a different coach, or some type of a rivalry game. So, JJ, let me your thoughts on that too. Like, and I'd like anybody to please weigh in on the chats. Does a successful season only result in a playoff berth?
It's a great question, and I think that for me, in terms of Pitt, a successful season, while that is our goal, is to your two goals are win the ACC and go to the playoff, and that is the two hardcore goals, and that's been stated between, and Dwight would agree with me, that's been stated at Pitt for numerous times now. Yeah. But to your point, I agree. It shouldn't be based upon, okay, we go to the playoff, because you win your conference. That kind of puts it into yourself. But for me, I've always said, you're 9+ wins, like 9-3, and then you win a bowl game, 10+ wins. That's a successful season. You can't. It kind of makes me like want to sit down and say, hey, can you fire a coach? Really, it's kind of okay. Do you want to fire your coach or not? That's kind of what I put my success on. And that's why 9+ wins, for Pitt, if they beat East Carolina, they get to 9 wins, but they're 9-4. I mean, 9 wins is important, but 8-4 during the season is not a successful season for me personally, for seeing the expectations that were put on to Pitt this year. So I think, to your point, it's not about making the playoffs. While that is the Pitt football team's goal, I think success is 9-3 and above, because that means you are in a good status. The average, above average to average, is 8-4 to 7-5, and then really mediocrity is 6-6 and then below. That's kind of how I put it on a number of different scales. It'd be fun to see what you guys think. But I mean, I would agree with that. And then Dwight had a good comment here. Thank goodness Mason and Cam were prepped and coached up by their coaches, ready for their moment. And great players are always ready for their moment, especially if they're a backup or a guy sitting there. They were ready for that moment. And Cam himself, man, just a diehard Pitt guy, and we're pumped to have him. This is a great comment too, and I have to get to this one, Rich. Great comment here, JJ. How about Eli Heidenreich from Mount Lebanon in Navy yesterday? He was a direct catalyst in their comeback victory over Army. Also, too, Alex Texa. Yeah. So you had 2 running backs, both from Mount Lebanon. The same graduating class went to Navy and helped Navy secure a victory yesterday. How about that? Shout out to the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils. My alma mater, going to high school. Damn. I mean, that was pretty awesome yesterday. And I really do call that America's game. It is fun to sit down. And obviously, we were able to meet up yesterday. Got to watch a little bit of the game at Celebrations with, you want to keep that name in mind, by the way, Celebrations Bar and Grill. There might be something happening on 1/17 of 2026. So keep that docketed, because I think the 3 of us on the screen right now know what's going to happen, but we'll give you guys more information. But it's going to be a damn good time and a non-live maybe event. So keep that in mind. And I got to give props to Harry and Eric on this, man. Eric got to meet up with him yesterday. We'll talk more about it, but man, shout out to those 2 guys for just getting that stuff settled. But that Navy Army game was incredible. It really was. And really just good to see 2 Whippeal guys be a part of that football game and do a tremendous job in that game. So excited for that. Dwight, love to see the local guys shine. Couldn't agree more. Bub Carrington Muse, good comment here. I think anything north of 9 to 10 wins is considered a good season. I agree with that. I really do. I think that's a good marker right there as well. Speedy Portis, as a fan, success is progression from not only the players but the coaches, not making the same mistakes and progressively playing better football through the season. That's also a very good point. Harry, your thoughts on this comment?
No, I agree 100%. We always talk about progression and development with players, but elite staffs make adjustments and learn from mistakes. And I will tell you, I mean, we were on here in Narduzzi. I think it was the Georgia Tech, I think it was a Georgia Tech game where he went for that crazy fake punt on the 4th down that they didn't really practice. To his credit, at least he fessed up and said, "I'm a dumbass," and I don't think we're going to see that happen again. So, no, I think Speedy, that's a phenomenal point, and the better coaching staffs learn from their mistakes. So they should develop as the players develop as well. So, no, I think it makes a lot of sense, and he's 100% correct.
And part of that winning too is winning ugly games whenever you didn't win them prior. JJ, you mentioned this, and Harry, I just don't know if he can hear me or not, but he's mentioned this many times. Pitt, to go to the next level, needs to raise their floor, which means winning games they should win, which they're
supposed to win.
Which for the most part they did this year. Any given year, WVU and Louisville should be wins, right? Some shenanigans happened in some of those games. It didn't happen this year. But Pitt finished 8-4. To me, 8 wins, 7 wins would be the bottom floor for Pitt. Then you get to 8 and 9, and in occasion you're going to catch that year where you get into the playoffs, right? And I think that progression as well, too, in year over year and as such is also something that could be measured as far as success inside individual years.
I agree. And then to Stevens here, I can't believe Pitt people are saying it's not playoffs or bust. Penn State fired Franklin for only 10-win season, which they should have. But also, too, Stephen, look at the process of what Penn State just went through. It was probably the worst search in college football history. And we're not saying that we don't want to go to we don't care about not going to playoffs. We clearly stated right there that going to the playoffs is our goal. But in reality, you do have to have a conversation about, what is the reality of a good year? Like Franklin had a good year last year. Like he was one game and one play away from a national title game. You just went and hired a football coach who's 8-4 and bringing over an Iowa State recruiting class. Like I don't think that Penn State fans and Carlo Zofko, who does a great job, retweeted something today that Penn State fans are changing their tune about recruiting rankings.
Yeah,
that it's not about 3 stars or 4 stars; it's about development. I wonder who's been saying that before though? When Pitt fans said that though, it was bad. It was a bad thing to say that. So now all of a sudden that Matt Campbell can't recruit 4 stars or 5 stars to Penn State. Now it's all about development. Guys, help me if I'm wrong. I mean, are the goalposts changing there? Because obviously Steven's a Penn State fan. Am I missing something?
Yeah. Carlo knocked it out of the park with that comment. Let's be honest. Franklin was a recruiting machine. I give him a lot of credit. We could already see what he did at Virginia Tech. Time will tell. I'm going to be very fair here because, Matt just dove in, and when you dive in, you're trying to take what you can. I've seen they signed a couple they had verbally committed a couple players today. They're all 3 stars. But to your point, that's what they've been hammering away on is the elite. I hear this all the time. All we have is 4-star. You're in a different era now. I think they landed on a good coach. I do. Whether or not he's going to be elite, I don't know. I respect Campbell. I think he's a good human being and a good coach. But I don't think you're going to see the rapidity of the 5-star, 4-star coming in. Get used to the Pitt model, which is bring them in and get them developed.
Yeah. And Eric, go ahead. Go ahead with your comment.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? And the thing what I don't like this, and I hear a lot of this in the Steeler talks. The fire Tomlin thing has been around for a while, and I understand it. But in any level of football, D1 and higher, when you switch out coaching staffs, you may bring another coaching staff as a different scheme that does not fit your players. Then you have to go get rid of some players to bring in new players to fit your scheme. And then when those players don't fit your scheme, then you don't have success on the field. And if you don't have success on the field, then you want to make another coaching change. And it's this constant turmoil of roster turnover, coaching staff turnover, that you don't get a solid foundation of success. So what do you give up to have a solid foundation of success? There's going to be years where you don't have success on the field, but you keep a foundation. What type of program do you want to be? What type of professional football team you want to be? NFL teams, I want to run the ball, play good defense. In college football, they want to have certain academic standards, or they want to run this type of offense. They want to attract this type of players. Some years that may not work, but you stick with that formula because you're going to attract the same type of players that fit your scheme to give you the best chance to win on the field. So be careful of always wanting to change coaching staffs when you don't make the playoffs.
I agree. And to the point there, Will has, again, thank you, Will, for the super chat here. Of course, we want to see Pitt in the playoffs every year, but we have to consider the resource it takes to get there and what we have. I agree. And again, no one's saying that that's not our goal. I mean, obviously, that's our goal. Win an ACC championship game and get to the playoffs. That's our goal and always will be our goal at Pitt. That's a fact. But the reality is, though, if your goal is a national championship every year, and if you don't reach your goal of a national championship, which is what you're saying is in terms of Penn State, you're firing a coach every year. Yeah. Like the pressure on Matt Campbell right now, and don't get me wrong, their schedule is very favorable next year.
Yeah.
But I mean, the guy doesn't have a recruiting class, is not going to recruit. I think he's a great football coach, to be honest with you. I think what he did at Iowa State is generational, what he did. Yeah. I think he is the best head football coach in Iowa State football history. I'll debate that till the end of time. But the reality is, too, if you don't make the championship, the national championship, okay, do you just fire a coach every year? Is that the goal? I I don't get it. And Dwight talked about it as well. That's what got James Franklin fired. He said this was a national championship game, national championship year or a bust. He lost to a UCLA team that fired their head football coach, lost to a Northwestern team, lost to Oregon by only 3 points? I mean, it was again, he had a problem winning the big games, but he also was in the playoff. So you might have to crack that. But also, too, it's not like, our goal at Penn State's to win a national championship every year. Brother, you haven't won a national championship game since the 80s. I mean, there has to be a reality. The same thing with Notre Dame. Like, Notre Dame was saying that until last year with Marcus Freeman, they had lost every major bowl game. I think they were like 0-28 on major bowl games. How is that fair to anybody? I mean, I understand having high expectations as a program to get to that point, but Matt Campbell's a great football coach, but to see online, too, some of the ESPN analysts have even said, is he going to recruit like James Franklin did? Can he deal with, like Bud Elliott talked about it recently, is he going to be able to deal with the 5-star player drama? Because all these 5-stars have drama to them. It could be how they play, the wide receivers. We look at like a George Pickens, for instance. There's always drama around George Pickens. You have to be able to adapt and get used to those players like a Georgia, like at Ohio State, those two teams, at Alabama, how they're playing at a high level to deal with that. Can you deal with that? He's never done that before. He couldn't get those type of players there. That's kind of the big thing with me. So, at the end of the day, to Will's point, our goal is the ACC championship game and going to the playoff. Alan Green has said that, Pat Narduzzi has said that. I think we talked about on the show that the time of Pat Narduzzi's coming to a close, probably pretty close, and we're getting there. John Waffle has another super chat here. I know the Pitt family wants to bring Shanahan home. Speaking of what he's talking about there, Shanahan, Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator at Indiana, who is a former Pitt tight end. The man would control the state and bring in NIL. I can tell you this: he would certainly be very supportive. I would imagine, and I've talked to numerous donors who would certainly support that. He would certainly be very supported here. With a lot of donors would come back just because of who Mike Shanahan is. And I, from numerous people, have heard he would definitely take this job here. So we'll see what that looks like over time. Dwight Lindsay, again, thank you, John and Will, for the super chats. Campbell got a tough situation. Hired kind of late, lost some studs in recruiting. And then on top of that, going into this year, they got a lot of guys leaving that roster. I mean, you got to rebuild that thing. The good thing is you'll have resources to do so, but it depends on who you get to go there. That's kind of a major point moving forward. So we'll see. We'll see exactly what they do. Again, we're at the hour and 13-minute mark. I don't want to waste any more, take any more time from Harry and from Eric here. But guess what, though? Here's the fun part, though. On Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen, where the show is free, so don't be a host, share the show. I'll tell you what, it's the Christmas holiday season, guys. I'd say, for the hell of it for the show, for our Greeks, let's take one more shot. We got to do one more shot here.
We're gonna do one more shot.
Everybody here, we all got work tomorrow. We'll do one more and that's it. But I'll tell you what, man.
You know what? There's one guy on this show that has no work tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Oh, there. Enjoy the PTO, baby.
It's called I'm too damn busy in the summer. I can't take it off, so I got to take it off on a cold-ass winter day and sit in my house and do nothing, which I also kind of like myself.
Enjoy it. But let me tell you this here, to the Pitt fans that were in here, again, I apologize for the stuff you had to go through early on, but, man, we are so damn thankful for how much you guys support the show, how much you guys support the community. The podcast has grown so fast because of you guys. Cannot thank you enough. Truly want to wish each and every one of you a happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Truly do, hopefully you enjoy your holidays. And guess what? I'm going to put it out there now, as we talked about before, 1/17/2026. Be prepared, because after the first of the year, we're going to be seeing some of our Pitt fans in the group, in the chat here. I know people already in the chat talking about it. We'll be seeing a lot of you maybe in person here. You'll hear more about that. Eric, you have any comments here?
Yeah, listen, funny enough is my college daughters are home, obviously, and they saw the liquor, and I said, go for it. and they're behind me right now looking for these little shot glasses. I want to go for it. Go for it. And yes, they're old enough, so don't anybody turn me in with that shit. So one more.
Greek?
You know what? I'm doing the warm one, Harry. So I'm going to make sure Harry says it's bad warm. We're about to find out. So happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. And again, to the Greeks and the nectar of the gods. Enjoy your holidays. Oh, that's smooth.
Man, good.
It's better. It's better cold. Yeah, it's better.
Ladies
cold.
and gentlemen, Harry, where can they find your brother before we log off here?
So since we're drinking ouzo, I'm going to say kali nikta to everybody, which in Greek is good night. I wish you all well, including the East Carolina fans that were harassing us. But you could find me at Pitt Guru. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the OG. I founded the first site covering Pitt recruiting. I've been at it now 30 plus years. I'm also an author. I'm a top influencer in the autism world. Trying to really drive a lot of research, money towards research. And you could look up harrypaceris.com. You'll find my best-selling book, From Struggle to Strength. And I'm starting book number 2 next week. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and starting to write. But thank you all for listening tonight, and I wish you all Merry Christmas.
Eric, where can they find you, brother?
Man, on the Twitters, man, Bird Cave, as well as my man GB on there. But the YouTube channel, Bird Cave, we are not obviously going on Monday night because there's a Steeler game tomorrow. So we'll be going on Tuesday night to do our normal Steelers wrap up and talk. You know, we'll review the Steeler game against the Dolphins. I know GB is actually going to be at the game, so I'm interested to get his perspective on that. And I also, for everybody here that wants a different perspective, as Harry and I have a lot of Penn State fans as friends, I got a show coming with them. They're going to react in their way, in a sense of what they think about their new Penn State coach and what they think about it. So it'll be really good just to get interesting perspectives. And again, they're personal friends of mine. So I want to give them a platform to share their opinion. So look out for that on the Bird Cave. But please hop over to the YouTube, subscribe, like the channel, and all that good stuff. But JJ, as always, brother, it's a pleasure. Happy holidays to everybody here, and we'll see you guys soon. And yes, 117 is going to be fun.
Speedy Tortoise, ho, 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 share the show. Merry Christmas, everybody. That's a damn good comment right there, Speedy Tortoise. And again, guys, cannot thank you enough. We'll drop more information on a in-person meeting and maybe in-person live show where you're there. We won't record it. We have something in the works here. We'll bring that up, and we'll probably promote that after the beginning of the year. But, man, beyond thankful for each and every one of you guys and supporting the podcast, supporting Harry, supporting Eric. We truly mean it. Thank you so much. It'll be a really good time to meet a lot of you in person, and just to thank you guys for everything you guys do for the podcast. The community we have is truly incredible, and cannot thank you guys enough. Guys, it has been another episode of Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen. The next week's show on Sunday, we will preview the Military Bowl, your Pitt Panthers versus the East Carolina Pirates. We'll be able to talk about that. We'll dive into more of it, talk about players who should be expected to play. We'll know more what they're going to be playing, who will be there, especially for Pitt. Anybody opting out, we're going to go into a full depth and live show for your Pitt Panthers in the bowl game and Military Bowl in Annapolis, Maryland. Guys, it's been another show. Thank you guys as always and forever. Hail to Pitt.
Hail
and remember,
Pitt.
Share the show. Don't be a hoe.
Don't be a hoe.
See you guys next time.
Hail to Pitt. Let's go.